Hard about what you want to be. Step 4. Everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up.
Welcome to Tales from the Field. We are back and better than ever. My name is Bradley Ball, and it is so good to have you with us. Last week was an amazing week. We had Jess Schultz, sorry about that. Ooh, Jess Schultz, PM from the Azure Data and Tools Experience Product Group. Niraj hosted. Hope Foley, CSA Extraordinaire, was a replacement host for Josh. And Hope won, which means Josh is the host this week. How crazy is that? On Thursday, we had our community roundtable. We covered so much great community content. All of those links are live on my blog, Sequel Walls, and also under the YouTube video on the YouTube channel in the comments section. If you haven't seen those, don't worry, stay right there. Those episodes are on YouTube for you to stream at your convenience. The show is posted afterwards, and if you want to interact with us, there's a couple different ways you could do it. Go over to the LinkedIn page for Sequel Balls and comment on the stream, or on Twitter under Sequel Balls, Tales TF Field, Tales from the Field, our Twitter account, Niraj Jafari or Josh Ludeman. Also, you could go over to our YouTube channel and you can comment directly on the stream over there. One of my wonderful co-hosts will be looking at these different comments and may throw them up, and they may be a part of the show. Don't forget, we are 4 weeks away from Live 360, where Buck Woody, Josh Ludeman, and myself will be delivering a hands-on ground-to-cloud workshop. Go to aka.ms/live360 to see a description of that on Sunday. We hope to have you with us. And of course, before we go any further, let's introduce these co-hosts of mine. I am joined by Andreas Padilla, Josh Ludeman, and a scholar and a gentleman, as well as your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, the one, the only Niraj Jafari. Josh, you're the host this week. What's the topic?
So this week, the topic is travel stories. Now with us coming back into really our first active conference season since the whole pandemic, I was like, you know what? Let's get into some fun, talk about some travel stories, maybe even some tips if anybody has them, but, really focus on the remembering how much fun it can be to travel sometimes. And so when I was sitting down thinking about this topic, I thought, who is the perfect guest to have? And I figured, why not bring in Karen, who has the owner of her own hashtag about travel stories, hashtag Karen's Travel Stories. So Karen Lopez is here joining us in the electrons herself. She's tremendously talented, as the rest of us here on the show know, but let's share her with the world. She's a senior project manager and architect at Infovisors, DAMA, which is the Data Management Association International Lifetime Advisor, a NASA Datanaut class of 2016, past president of the Toronto SQL Server User Group, presenter at many international conferences and user groups, including Live 360, where she has a pre-con on Monday with our friend Tom LaRock, while we're on Sunday, Brad, with Buck Woody, doing ours ground to cloud. And she's an 11-time data platform MVP, ardent runner, dear friend of mine, the show's, Brad's. Karen, welcome to the show.
What do you mean? Karen was at my house for Thanksgiving last year. Of course she's my friend.
I mean, it was Thanksgiving. It was your house or Denny's.
Oh, my house or Denny?
Yeah.
Look, don't knock a grand slam. Denny's is great.
Yeah.
Really cutie, fresh and fruity.
I run that Space Coast Marathon or half marathon every year, which is the weekend of Thanksgiving. And Brad kind of takes care of me as the orphan Thanksgiving person because I have to be in Florida.
I always love it. I've actually got some really great bottles of wine that I've purchased that I've got waiting to be open for you because I know you're going to enjoy them. We were at Mazzaro's Italian market over in Tampa this last weekend.
Good.
And I picked up this great bottle. I'll be honest, I would have to look at it to tell you what it was, but they have a rating scale 0 to 100, and it got 96 points. And I went, Well, there we go. Karen's going to love this.
That's right. Anything from 2 buck chuck to 93 and above, love that on the rating systems. And by the way, Brad, I just want to say, every year you promise me you're going to come do this half marathon with me on the Sunday after Thanksgiving.
I do.
Remind you of that. We don't
Is that the
promise, but yeah.
So there was a Space Coast one, like an astronaut one that you sent me.
It's all astronaut themed. My medal last year was like this big. It's so cool. It's one of the best community-driven races. It's super flat. They say the elevation of any hill on the race is a speed bump, which is true.
Okay. You know what? I have a half marathon next week, I think next weekend. So, and I've been training for it. Let me look and see if I can still sign up, because I may want to do that. I definitely
I'm going to walk it this year because I haven't been training well, but because it coincides with the full marathon, that gives me like 7 hours.
Oh, that's great. That's good, because
a little under 4 to walk it. But yeah.
I was going to say, I am not fast. So real quick, just to say hello. Oh, there we go. Our good buddy Dan Taylor. Karen has thrown out the challenge for Brad to run the half marathon. Well, thanks, Dan. I appreciate you submitting this in the electrons. Okay. I hear you. I'm going to have to sign up. I'm good. Speaking of Florida, Andreas, we have some wonderful weather going on right now. Did you make it outside this weekend? How was your weekend?
Oh my God, the weekend was great. Got some barbecuing, great runs. Flew my new drone. Ooh. This guy is awesome because I can put Python in it and it can stream the video down to my Xavier, and I can do some AI with this. So I played a little bit with this guy, but basically, barbecue and beers, man. Can't beat it. One last thing I want to mention is that come January and February, I love when the weather is even better down here, and I'm laughing at everybody up north hacking through the snow, sloshing through it. You know what? It's good to be down in Florida.
It's just cruel, right? We don't call it
today. So we're
it was 65 and a pleasant weekend in New York. So it was a nice weekend.
Yeah.
Andreas, you missed that. Come down, New York.
I will. Next year, Josh, buddy. I'm coming over your house.
Yeah, next year. There we go. Or you can come down here. Maybe you can join us for the half marathon, Rush.
Yeah.
You're a vegetarian, and I make vegetarian dishes specifically for Karen. I got a couple family members that are vegetarian, so maybe next year we plan this out. Niraj is going to do the half marathon with us.
Yeah, Thanksgiving and half marathon.
I did once. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Would be exceptional. Our good friend Dan says Karen has the bestest of travel stories. She really does. Although I don't know if I would say they were the bestest as she's going through them, but they definitely are the bestest after the fact.
I enjoy them all now. Like when I post my travel stories, it's because I'm laughing my head off as they're happening because it's just weird. It's not the usual, oh, I'm delayed. I'm on a flight that did something really weird. Like one time we took off and we couldn't land in the U.S. because the pilots forgot to get the paperwork, so we had to fly home.
Ooh.
Oh, that's awful. That's awful. So,
I was laughing.
on this topic, Josh, you're the host. So, would you let us know what are the rules?
Yep. So we'll go over the rules. Same rules as normal on a Tuesday, right? Karen and myself will be going ahead and giving out points to folks. Just keep in mind that I can't win again, which is sad because I should win every week.
No. I think we put that rule in by
the next time you win
specifically because of you.
Next time you win is when Hope comes back.
Hey, I will not deny the fact that I brought in a ringer to guarantee victory.
I was going to say the only thing bigger than that hat is the ego sitting underneath of it.
Yes,
that's right.
Correct.
Speaking of hats, real quick though, I was at Disney over the weekend, and I got Josh another hat. This one is Haunted Mansion theme.
Ooh.
But and it's a little bit more sparkly. So nice. I had promised you a sparkly hat.
And it's nice and neutral too, so I'll be able to. Not get caught in color issues.
It's a nice Scottish plaid, so you could get a kilt that matches it. There you go. It's hard. That's right. Now that we've been through the reminders of the rules, Karen, you have a lot going on. You are so super busy. Coming up, you are co-presenting with our good friend Thomas LaRock. Over at Live 360, you have multiple presentations going on at the event itself in December. You have DQIG, the Data Governance and Information Quality Conference that you are presenting at. You have so much going on. What are you excited about?
Wow, I'm excited about all those. So I've been doing a few conferences over the last year. One I got COVID at, but had no symptoms. So I feel like I've gotten that bucket list item, conference COVID, out of my system and off my bucket list, and still more time to work on the rest of my list. But one of the exciting things, because I'm such a space exploration freak, is that while we're at Live 360, the first launch window to open for Artemis to make our return to the moon, it's not going to land on the moon, but it's Artemis first thing, is scheduled for November 14th, which is while we're going to be there. So it's a little after midnight on November 14th. And it's because it's a night launch, it's totally possible to see it from Orlando. So although I may be just driving to the coast to see it closer and to feel it, because when you get close to a launch, you can feel the launch, not just hear it or see it.
Well, I was going to say that immediately makes me think that there is a rooftop bar at one of the hotels. There we go. Yeah.
Well, no, and that's what I was going to say too, Brad. That's what that's what I thought of while she was talking. I went, is that rooftop bar? And I can't remember the hotel. It's the newer one in the collection.
Space Hotel. We call it the Space Hotel. Because I have the little I have one around here, astronaut projectors in each room, so you can put a nebula on the ceiling. The problem with a big launch like that, because when I went down for Crew 4 for my friend Samantha to go to the space station, during a big launch, you can't go into the rooftop bar unless you're staying there. So now that they've launched a date, we might be too late to do that. But I know plenty of great places to watch a launch from.
Well, I was going to say, I am not above purchasing a hotel room and saying multiple people are sleeping in there. We all need key cards just to be able to get access to a bar.
Yeah, we only need one key card to get an elevator full to the roof, man. Just saying.
Yeah. There we go. No, I was going to say we can make that happen. I think we're going to be hitting the reservation system after.
And it's Monday night too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So I guess if we're the travel stories, right? I think I know what you're talking about, but I know what you're talking about because I have witnessed so many of them. I've known you for so long. But Josh, why don't you and Karen give us an example of the travel stories that you're probably looking for us to compete?
There's all kinds of ridiculousness, and Karen's talked about one. I mean, with her flying and then having to basically fly back to the origin airport to get the paperwork because the pilot forgot it. But there's all kinds of fun stories that can happen when you're on a trip. Like Karen and I were both delegates one year with Tech Field Day with, I believe it was Cloud Field Day, the first one, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were on our way over to the mall after both of us getting into the hotel in San Francisco and just, called a basic Uber to go over to the mall, look for a couple of things. And, well, the Uber driver wanted to make himself very comfortable on the drive to the hotel. And
he was driving.
Yeah, he was driving and put his feet up on the dash, just like this, with the steering wheel right here, while he drove down the freeway, driving us there. Put the car in the nice little Prius in cruise control, and we were going, and he was comfy, and that's really all that mattered.
And I think he almost hit someone in the parking lot, or maybe that was the second Uber driver.
No, that was the first one. The second one, we were nervous about calling, but then he showed up, and he was very professional. Showed up in a nice, I think it was a shirt and tie though, and in his little Toyota Corolla, but let us in. But he almost hit a guy in the parking lot. And I remember you looking over at me at one point, Karen, going, is this happening? For real? For realsies?
And that was all before Uber had any of their safety tools. There was no way to contact Uber. There was no way to share your ride. Here, we're both in town for an event. Our event organizers, they don't even know where we are. If we disappeared or ran off some bridge or something, nobody would know where we were.
No. We just went off some road with the guy's feet hanging out the window. It was
You don't have to do the pose again, Josh. You
no,
don't
I'm
have
not.
to.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I was going to say I love you, baby, but I feel like I know what it would be like if you ever had to deliver now.
Yeah.
That's
Yes. Yes.
doctors down there like Johnny Bench.
Yeah.
All right, bring it in. Right there.
All right.
Okay.
Karen,
so
Karen, you have probably, do you have any others you want to throw out?
Yeah,
or-
well, I think I'm kind of jinxed with SFO and San Jose because for another, I can't remember if it was the same tech field day, but another tech field day, either data field day, cloud field day, storage field day, one of those, I was flying into SFO and then going, and then they had arranged a car to take me to San Jose. But the flight I was on, which was on a regular sized plane, not a little regional jet, the pilot came on and announced that there wasn't enough fuel to get us to SFO, to San Francisco. So we were going to have to divert to San Jose. Now, San Jose to SFO is maybe 25 miles. So when he announces that we don't have enough fuel to get to San Francisco, I'm thinking, I thought they had like 2 hours of reserves on these flights, like by right. So we landed in San Jose and I could see the hotel I needed to be at. But of course, it's a transborder flight. They won't let us off the plane. Air Canada has no operations at San Jose. So it took more than 4 hours for us to get refueled just so that we could take off. And then it took us an hour to land because you can't just fly a big plane from San Jose to, like, you have to fly out over the ocean and then get in line and come back in. So then the car I took, which I had planned my flight so I wouldn't be during rush hour, of course, is leaving San Francisco at 4:30 and trying to drive to San Jose, which meant I missed dinner and everything. So definitely a very privileged take on a travel problem. But I've had others, like where I got trapped at Heathrow for 2 days because all of the UK's airports were closed for 2 days. And that was due to a massive windstorm that canceled train lines, canceled highways. And I just pretty much, thank goodness, lived in a lounge, a business class lounge. And they let us sleep there and they brought us stuff and I had Wi-Fi and the rest of the airport ran out of food.
wow.
That's bad.
And so I didn't create this hashtag, by the way, Karen's Travel Stories.
No.
Twitter did on my behalf. And I can't even remember who did it. It might have been Tom, might have been someone else. Someone else created it. And now people tag me in it when things go wrong.
Yep. You have a following now.
Yeah.
I don't know about a following, but it's definitely a way of spreading joy.
I know when I see your hashtag, I immediately go, oh God.
Yeah. Oh no, what happened now?
Yeah, this doesn't come up when it's good. I've had a few where I've been, live tweeting, you can't make this up, folks, and people literally start tagging my story with Karen's travel stories, and I'm like, well, I made it to the big time.
Well, Brad, even with the travel story I think of with you is your bachelor party.
Oh yeah.
God.
So you want me to tell it?
Yeah,
I'll be
absolutely.
happy. Okay. So I guess to kind of set the scene for this, when I'm getting married to my wife, Sue, I don't want a traditional bachelor party, right? Like the things I enjoy doing is I like having fun with friends. I like having drinks and I like really good food. And so I want to go to a place I've never been before. And we go to New Orleans. And the plan is we're going to fly in on Friday. We're taking Friday off. We're going to be there Friday, Saturday. We're flying out on Sunday. And on Friday, I find this tour service that's going to take us around to all these different bars in New Orleans. It covers a drink that the bars are known for. And I think, oh, that's going to be a nice, fun thing for us to do. And then we've got a nice dinner reservation at about 8:30. And so we'll do that. So we're flying in pretty early. My younger brother, he's a doctor and he lives over in Tampa. And he calls me up and he goes, hey, so you're flying out of Tampa, right? Well, I live in Orlando. That's an hour and a half away, an hour and 45 minutes from his house in St. Petersburg. And and Orlando's airport is 30 minutes from me. And I go, nah, bro, I'm got status on American. I'm going to fly out on American, and I'm going to, go to Charlotte, and then I'm going to go to New Orleans, and I'm flying out of MCO. And he goes, but I was going to buy your ticket and you would fly with me on Southwest, and they've got this grape juice liquor and you mix it with vodka, and I was going to buy those for you, and we were going to drink those together all the way out there, and it's a direct flight. And I'm like, I'm flying out of Tampa. Okay, yeah, dude, I'm in. Well, of course, our buddy Gareth. Gareth was in on everything, so I called Josh up, and Josh is like,
I had already booked. I used rewards miles, so I already booked.
And he's like, I'm flying out of Orlando.
So I'm sitting there going like this. I'm like, shit, I'm gonna miss all the fun.
He's like, forget you guys. I'm flying nice and comfy. I'm gonna get upgraded first class. I'm going.
No, I paid for the first class with miles.
Oh, yeah. Okay, whatever. But anyway, so you're gonna be nice and comfy. But Gareth is like, oh, let me know the plane number. I'll book right now. And so I get the info for Dave. Gareth books. We agree he's going to drive down to my house because he's about 15 minutes north of me. We're going to drive over. We'll go at Dave's house, park our cars there. Dave will drive us to the airport. So we do all this. We stop by Mazzaro's, get subs, great time, and then we head to the airport. Okay.
Before all this, I flew out before you guys. I think I flew out time you were leaving your house to head to Tampa.
Actually, we were supposed to fly out before you. And we were also supposed to land before you.
Oh, that's right.
The flight was supposed to leave at 1 p.m. East Coast time. Because New Orleans is in Central time, I think it's a 3-hour flight there. Instead of landing at 4 p.m., we would land there at 3 p.m. New Orleans time. And so the plan was we were going to get there at 3 p.m. You were going to get there about 4:30. We were going over to the hotel. We would meet up at the hotel. And then we were going to go meet the tour, and we'd probably grab a bite to eat or something like that. And we go to the tour, then dinner, all that good stuff. Right. So we get on the plane. My brother has a picture of it. So I would have thought of this. I would have uploaded the picture so we all could have seen it, but we're sitting in the back row, crammed into this Southwest flight. And I remember saying at some point in time, it's tight because my brother's the same size as me. Gareth is a big guy. He's the same size as me. All three of us are in these 3 seats. And we take a picture like this, and I show it to Dave, and he goes, yep, that's 15 pounds in a 10-pound bag. And and so we're at the point in time where you can see the coastline of Florida. We're out over the ocean, and we get, ladies and gentlemen, there's a mechanical issue with the flight. We have to turn around right now. We're going to be making an emergency landing in Tampa. And we're like, okay, no oxygen mask comes by. Nobody's telling us to, brace or anything like that. So we're like, okay, there's an emergency issue, but we don't know what the emergency issue is. Turns out the wing flaps, they wouldn't extend. They were retracted for takeoff, and if they don't extend, it reduces the amount of speed, the max speed the plane can get to, and we didn't have enough fuel in that case to be able to make it all the way to New Orleans, so they had to turn us around. So we land, we're sitting on the plane, 45 minutes go by, and they go, look, if you get off the plane and we can fix the issue quickly, we're just going to close the door and go. So just remember, if you do that, it's at your own peril. People are getting up, people are leaving, probably to get rebooked. These are the smart people, but not us. No, we're stuck on this. So they eventually come on and they go, okay, folks, so this is an issue with the wing. For them to work on the wing, they got to take the fuel out. So we've got to deplane, but stay by in the gate, because the second we fix this, we're rocking and rolling. We're going. We're like, yep, sure thing. So we go out. We're in the lobby, and there's a little bar there. So, of course, we run over. We get drinks real quick. Get one drink, pay it off, chug it real quick, run back over. Oh, it's time to get back on the plane. But then they go, nope, we need a new plane. We're going to have to take apart the wing. So now we're waiting for the plane. So we run back over. We get another drink. We run back over. There's a plane there. Okay, everybody gets loaded on. Yay, we're ready to go. We're sitting. We're waiting. And then we see this medical gurney, like from an ambulance, come on with people clearly from an ambulance. They load someone on from the cockpit. And that's when someone gets on and they go, ladies and gentlemen, we need to stay seated. The captain has become severely ill. We're evacuating him to a hospital. We just need you to stay patient. They take the captain off the plane, and we're like, okay, so what are we doing now? I mean, is co-pilot flying this? Are we getting a new pilot? They're like, folks, we got to get a new pilot. Everybody off the plane again. So we get off the plane. This time we run over to the bar. Yeah.
And at that point, I'm already at a bar on Bourbon Street having some food, having a couple drinks, asking what the hell.
I text Josh as we're turning around for the mechanical issue, and he's like, ha, 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 yeah, right. And I'm like, no, dude, this is serious. We're landing. So he's already in Atlanta by the time we land, and we're off-boarded the first time. By the time we're off-boarded the third time, and now we're waiting for the new pilot, Josh has landed in New Orleans. So new pilot comes. This pilot does not look, of course, we're cheering for him, but he does not look happy. And we find out that the reason he does not look happy is he was supposed to be on vacation for the next 3 days with his family in Florida. And he definitely did not want to be on a plane flying to New Orleans right now because he's going to be missing this. So they load us all on, new pilots on, and then they come on and they go, ladies and gentlemen, we're so sorry about this, but there's a new FAA regulation limiting the amount of time that pilots can be in flight. If we take off right now and everything goes to plan, he will reach the extension of his hours an hour before we land. So we've got to find another pilot. Everybody back off the plane. So now we go back to the bar. This time it's like, okay, let's get drinks, but also food, because I think this is our 4th or 5th round of drinks, and we haven't had food yet. So we get some food, we get some drinks. They make an announcement that there's a pilot, and we're like, yay. Okay, so we go back over, we get back on the plane. At this point in time, let's just say, right, I told you, back row, we're all crammed in. This time, Dave and I are in the middle of the plane. I have the aisle seat. He has the window seat. Gareth has the aisle seat right next to me, and Gareth has an empty. There's probably, I'd say, about 40% of the plane left at this point in time that we originally started with. So we go to where we're about to taxi. We're getting ready to taxi, and then we hear, is there a doctor or a medical professional on board? My brother just looks at me because he's the head of ER medicine and a practicing ER doctor in Tampa. He looks at me and goes, I'm up. And I'm like, yep. I get up, get out of the way. He gets up to the front. Apparently there was a gentleman with diabetes on the plane. This had thrown off his schedule with not eating, with medication, things like that, had gone into diabetic shock and had passed out. He's able to revive him. They're able to get him some orange juice. At this point in time, we're doing literally like a fast and furious plane ride back to the gate so we could get there. Like you're like this, like the pilot's clearly swerving all over the place. That's important just for a second. So we pull in, they connect the gate. EMS now comes on this flight for the second time, and they take the passenger, load him up. They're super thankful to my brother. And the folks with that person are off. They're going to be okay, but they got to take them to the hospital at this point. Well, then they come on and they go, look, we burned so much fuel getting back to the gate quickly. We need to refuel. So we're going to have to be here for a little while. Well, they come by and they're really nice. And they say to my brother, they're like, doctor, thank you so much. We really appreciated it. And they go, is there anything we can get for you? And he goes, well, as a matter of fact, it's my brother's bachelor party. I was really hoping I can get some of those little beverages so I can mix them up. Is it possible to get those? And the host goes, for you, anything. We're good. And she goes back and he gives me his card because he's like, you're not buying, I'm buying. And I've got his card right there. She drops him off. And I go to like, no. She just walks by. And we finish him off. Oh, another round? Because we're still, remember, sitting there for refueling. Yeah, sure. She drops him off again. I go, and I go, Dave, I don't think you're paying for drinks on this flight. I just hand the card back to him. So we're still sitting there. We're on our second round of drinks now. And they make another announcement and they go, folks, we can't make this up. When the EMS technicians were on the plane loading the gentleman up, apparently one of them dropped their phone. Could everyone please look on the ground and see if you can find a cell phone? So probably the 20 of us left on this flight are now on our hands and knees looking around. Somebody up front, I found it. And so they get the phone, they give it to somebody, they get off the plane. We go and we're finally able to taxi. We take off.
What time did you end up getting to New Orleans?
9:20 at night. The pilot announces flight, blah, blah, blah. Southwest Airlines is finally outbound for New Orleans. We cheer like our team just scored the Super Bowl. We get there around 11 o'clock at night. We missed the tour. As a matter of fact, that made a great Saturday because we end up doing our own tour on Saturday, and that was another story in and of itself. But yeah, so that's that's my travel story for.
Andres, what do you got?
Did you have a bachelor party?
Well, first of all, let me know if you. I'm going to Venmo you the money, Josh, that we talked about before the show. You know, I realized I was playing the game wrong. Now, my story is going to be short. It's not going to be very long. So hopefully you're not taking points because of length.
Size does not matter.
I still want to go back to this Venmo thing. What?
So my story is I've had some good superstar sightings on my plane, on my flights. I've sat by Al Michaels. I saw 2 stars different occasions get kicked off because they were so wasted that they didn't let them on the flight. And I love those stories where everybody starts fighting on a flight. Fight. Why not?
Where are my points?
Yeah, no. And I got to sit and meet Anthony Bourdain, which is one of my favorite.
I love Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So there. That's my. Besides that, all my flights have been on time. Not like Brad.
Really?
Wait, what? I'm disqualified.
Niraj, what do you got?
So, I mean, I have a couple of horror stories, but I don't want to bore people up because we had Brad's biggest horror story so far, which was the party. One thing that I would say, like international travel, like I've traveled a lot to India from India, so I travel a lot to India and never fly few islands. I don't want to name some of them just for the sake of it, but I would say definitely fly if you're flying for work. Fly Emirates. They have a good business class lounge. That would give you can take showers, you can have a nice breakfast, lunch, whatever time you reach up Dubai, and they definitely treat you really cool. I mean, that is something that you would definitely love to go up there. So any of the Middle East flight was the best travel experience that I had when I was traveling international for work.
Excellent. I agree with all that. Always take a shower. Never pass up the opportunity to have a shower on a long travel day.
Absolutely. So hold on. Why am I disqualified? I mean, this is
because you're whining about points.
In 1,000 points, I just told like the story of all stories. How many times have I entered? I'm glad you weren't on that flight now, Ludeman. I used to wish you were there with that.
Oh, no. I'm glad I wasn't on it as well. Yeah. I landed, I think, about 6 o'clock. Got to the hotel, checked in, had a nice meal, couple cocktails, and then sat at the bar on Bourbon Street going Southwest out of Tampa.
I would say, Brad, you got 2 pilots out of the flight. You got 1 passenger out of the flight. You should be really sorry for that.
Of course I feel sorry, but I mean, disqualified. As I recall, the last time Josh was in charge, I was disqualified. I haven't disqualified Ludeman yet. I'm going to have to remember this.
I mean, if you're not thinking, that's not my problem.
So I had, because this was also called travel tips, I did have a couple of travel tips. They're really generic. They are never fly, sleep, go on a train without joining that provider's frequent flyer stayer program, because you are one level above the pecking order of who's going to get bumped when they're oversold. Okay. Just know that. The second is take a printout of everything, take a copy of everything. They may not be valid, but people will help you if you have a printout of a copy of your passport. They might not accept it, but they are so going to help you. Always be charging your phone, even when you don't think you need to charge, and never skip the opportunity for a shower on a long haul flight, as Niraj said. And then finally, one of my talks at 360 is data happens, how to survive a day. And that is the best way to deal with travel, irregular operations, difficulties, is maintain a concept of Zen and Stoicism, which is don't worry or suffer because of things that are outside your control. Just find the joy that someday it's going to make a great story. And in the overall scheme of things, for most people, you will forget about this difficulty within a few days, even if you missed a pre-con, even if you're late for a bachelor party. It's going to make a great story more than you're going to suffer from it.
Absolutely. I have many great
Yeah.
stories about how Josh is an asshat.
Did you guys have
Oh, there's plenty of that. You don't even. It's not even just yours. There's others who have that too.
Did you guys ever have a way where your passport is expired and you reach the airport and find out, oh, my passport's expired or it's going to expire like next 10 days?
I had a friend whose passport was expired.
I had a
and we were
friend.
going to Paris. I've
Yep, I had
actually
a friend
flown
who-
without my passport, and it is possible on an international flight. There are just steps you have to take, like getting to the airport 4 hours before your flight. But it is possible if you lose identity, or not if you forgot it, but if you filed a police report, you can fly. You can get through TSA, you can get through a border crossing, you can get on a flight without it. You just have to plan for it.
Ooh.
Yeah. No, you know what? That's incredibly valuable because people often think, oh, I've got everything with me. But you're right. There are terrible things that happen while people are traveling where you need to and that's where that printout of the copy and the printout is important because you should also take a digital picture with your phone.
Right.
But what if you lose your phone? So having a backup of a backup.
Or for some reason, it's totally irrational. But from a PsyOps point of view, people won't trust something that's an image on your phone, but print it out and oh my gosh, even though it's totally just as risky, you could do something funky on your computer and then print it out. But one other thing, memorize your frequent flyer number and your credit card number because often the first person to spit that information out gets on the next flight. Just trust me on this.
Oh,
People hate waiting for someone to dig out their frequent flyer card or their credit card, and people are like, okay, I can get you on this next flight, but we're going to charge you a $50 change fee because you missed your flight because you were late. I'm like, are you ready to go? I got my credit card number. And just that, sometimes they're like, if someone's digging, like I tend to do when I can't find my credit card, I memorize one credit card number, my passport number, my frequent flyer number. All of that is so worth it to someone trying to help you because you're helping them get it done fast. Yeah, have backups. Have a copy everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and Dan, I know personally had to deal with this. He had not only, needing the backup, but he had that issue when he had his wallet and his identity stolen.
That's tough.
Yeah, that's a really rough situation.
All right.
Fantastic. Thank you, Karen, for those absolutely amazing tips. Thank you, Niraj, for playing a good game. I am very suspect about Andreas and Ludeman. Andreas may have been onto something about draining a swamp a little while ago because I think there's something going on right there. So yeah, Andreas is the winner. I kind of figured that out. I noticed that when the banner posted with him getting 1,000 points, and then I was disqualified mysteriously, and then Niraj only got 500, and there was this mention of a Venmo. I don't think Andreas has actually been on a plane before. I'm beginning to suspect all of this.
I agree, Brad. I agree with you this time.
Yeah, Andreas, you were looking like you were going to talk there, buddy, but you're on mute.
I haven't been on a plane. I don't vacation outside of the United States. Don't go in. I stay in the U.S. That's how do I do it.
Yeah. Dan says, I am suspicious, always on time.
Yeah. Not possible.
Yeah, all my flights are on time. Have you flown? Have you? All right. So this is some quick reminders. Thursday is our community roundtable. Please come and see all the great community content that we put forward. Remember, if you have content that you want us to consider, then make sure and hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on the YouTube channel in the comments. Hit us up on LinkedIn on the comments. We would love to know the things you're doing in the community so that way we can highlight your great efforts. The past summit, remember, Tales from the Field has a Tales from the Field migrations to Azure SQL. It's going to be a video recording that you can access. I think it's going to be part of what the SQL Server product group offers as their recorded sessions. Please remember to check that out. And then if you have any questions, hit us up. And as always, Live 360, 4 weeks away at the, Josh, where is it?
It is at the beautiful Lowe's Royal Pacific Hotel and Resort Conference Center on the spectacular grounds of Universal Studios Orlando.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. It is, again, my favorite conference every single year and
Absolutely.
my favorite location to go to. It is.
And one of these days, they're going to give me something in reward for these wonderful drops. I don't know when, though. I'm trying, though.
We can only hope. Maybe a free bag of peanuts or something like that.
Yeah.
And I will
A
still
little bottle of water in my room.
Excellent.
All right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to where we're broadcasting in person. I don't think you'll be able to pull these shenanigans face to face.
Oh, you want to bet? You want to bet?
Not really. I can see you trying to pull all this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Did I forget anything?
I don't think so. Karen, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. All right. Thank you, everyone. See you on Thursday.
Gonna be a good